overflow on top of this overflow, so we're doing pretty good. All right, here's the story, and this is the truth. You guys have an opportunity to make history. And that is that as a result of this special election, the entire country, and in fact a lot of the political world, is looking at Montana. And what the story is here is when Rob announced his candidacy a few months ago, everybody said, well, he's an interesting guy, which he is. You know, he's a poet, and he's a musician, and he's a songwriter, and a really, really nice guy. And everybody said, well, he's a nice guy, but you know, there's no chance that this guy is going to win in this state. Trump won here in Montana by 20 points. The previous congressional election, I can't remember, was kind of a blowout. Zinke won by a whole lot. So people said, you know, Rob's an interesting guy, but he can't win. Well, a lot of interesting things have been happening in the last few months. And you're seeing it here today. That what the people of Montana are saying is that, you know what, we are sick and tired of a Congress and a government run by millionaires and billionaires, for millionaires and billionaires. We need real change. And for those of you who may have supported me in my efforts, and I thank you, we did really great here. What Rob is doing in many respects is exactly the same thing. He's running against a multi-millionaire, and these guys have unlimited sums of money. But what Rob is doing in his campaign, he has already, as I understand it, received hundreds of thousands of contributions from working people, middle-class people, lower-income people in Montana and all over the country. And the average contribution, you know, I was pretty proud. In my campaign for president, our average contribution was $27, pretty good. His is $25. Something like 98% of his contributions are less than $200. So what this is about is a people's campaign. And a time of enormous crisis in this country, in so many areas. What Montana is doing is rallying around a candidate who is going to stand up for working families and take on the big money interests. Somebody who knows that we have to overturn this disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision. Somebody who understands that health care is a right, not a privilege. And what Rob has been talking about throughout this campaign is that the immediate task, which is absolutely right, is that we defeat this horrific Republican bill that threw 24 million people off of health insurance. That is one of the worst, ugliest pieces of legislation ever passed in the Congress in modern history. It is horrific, and I'll talk about that a little bit more when I'm up there. But what Rob also understands, and this is important, he's going to work with me and a growing number of people in Congress and people all over this country to end the international disgrace of the United States being the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people through a Medicare for all single-payer program. That's where we're going. Now the Republicans, what I can tell you, I just flew in from Washington on Thursday night, and I can tell you that the Republicans are becoming increasingly nervous. And that is a very good thing. Because if Rob can win here in Montana, running a people-oriented campaign, a real grassroots movement, which is what is happening. I mean, the turnouts we have seen, I know I'm not supposed to mention the town Missoula. I know. But on this instance, I think you're all on the same side, right? But if Rob can pull this off, taking on, unbelievable amounts of money on the other side, then what happens is you send a message to the entire country. A lot of people out there, as you know, they are demoralized, they're discouraged, they're depressed about the politics of this country. If you can elect Rob, you're going to send a bolt of lightning and encouragement and inspiration to people all over this country. So you got a lot on your shoulders, and what I would ask of you in the next 4 or 5 days, the election is on Thursday, is if, I don't know, we're going to have 3, 4, 5,000 people here today. If each one of you can just drag out one friend, one coworker, one family member, you can double the number of supporters that Rob has. And this is going to be a close election, and that can make all the difference in the world. So we got 5 days or so. What's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? 5 days, okay? So let's do everything that we can. And I mean this. If we can win this thing, you will have made history. No small thing. Thanks very much.